gives me 1 as the result. When I say select 1, 2, it gives me 1 and 2. So whatever you give as input, it will reflect back. Okay, that is how database works. So now,
yeah. How do you get that? Okay, these are the information you get to execute your query from that application.
We will do that. That is what we do. Here, what I am saying is, I am just introducing people who do not know the concept of literals in database. So if you select the constant is written. Now for us, here two aims are there. One is to identify the number of columns in the first select and the data types, right? Okay. So if we give here union select 1, so our query is like this. This is what we are giving in our URL. What do you think will happen here? It should give us error, that is a blank page. Why?
So,
okay, we do not know till now. If the first query has only one select a column in the select statement, then it will give us a result, or else not. Okay? So we will try that out. It doesn't work as expected because there is branch name, address, state, telephone number, etc. So it has to be more than one. So what we will do is we will keep increasing the number of constants in our query. So let's say we give 3. Still doesn't give us any input. Now we will keep doing this till the time we get a result. So there is another way to do this also using order by. But let me take you through the basic way so that understanding is better. So I know that in this specific example or this application there are 8 fields. Okay? Now what the query that we are giving here is this. City, Delhi, union select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright? And I say enter. Okay? And I get the result with an additional row. What is the additional row? It is reflecting back those constants. So you've got 1 to 8 here. Okay? Now this is interesting. So now we know that there are 8 columns which are being selected from the backend data. So we've just done this. So we got the branches of Delhi on the nth attempt, which is the 8th attempt in our case. We do not know the table name yet. Okay? So let me introduce to something called as the information schema. Yeah.
The last query was the data type. We have also one concept like the data type.
Right.
So is it taken that all the fields are of the same string type?
Yeah, in this case it is of the string type, hence it works. Or else we'll have to do permutation and combination and see where we are matching. Right? But for simplicity of the demo, but the idea is that the columns, the number of columns should match in both selects and the data type should match. Yes. Now, what is the information schema? Again, it is standardized by the SQL 99, which says that all information about the database will be there in this particular system view. It contains the names of tables, names of columns and everything for all the databases in the specific database. Now we will try to find out the table name based on this. What I'm going to do here is, instead of this 8, I know there is a field called table underscore name in the information schema.tables view. So the query I am giving here is union select, then all the literals, and then table name. Now table underscore name is a column in that particular information schema.tables view. Okay? Now once I run this, let us see if we are getting any data. You see, apart from the literals being reflected back, we have all the database tables that are present in this particular database coming out to the user. Now last week we were doing the application penetration testing for one of the customers, and it is a financial organization. Their transactional side is extremely safe, there is no problem. But on their public page, there was such a vulnerability in one of their select location fields. Now, even if our login module etc. is extremely safe, even one SQL injection problem in a public page can lead us to stealing of information from the other database in case they are late. Now in this case, if you see, we've got the tables HB users, HB feedback, HB transactions. For me as an attacker, the HB users table seems to be interesting. Okay? So what I will do is, I will go back to my query, I will say, now we've got a field called the column name in the information schema.columns view. Okay? So what I am doing is union select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, comma column name from information schema.columns where table underscore name is equal to HB underscore users, which we have just identified based on this output, right? Yeah. So we see, we get the column names for the HB users table, and the column names are login ID, password, and user ID. Yes, it is standard. Yes, works on MS SQL, MySQL, PostgreSQL.
And any user can grant permission is across all the users. Anybody can access this.
No.
Who is that?
Mostly the administrator or the DB.
It is a column or it is a feature or what is it?
Okay, what he is mentioning is that how many, for that matter, let's say when a attacker runs a delete command from the application, right? The delete command will only succeed if the application connects to the database with the user having delete privilege on the database, right? Now, if the application has not connected to the database using a high privilege user but a low privilege user, then delete will not work. That is what you mentioned, right? Now, these privileges in the database are there for various purposes. Now, if we enable them, then it is a feature to protect against the SQL injection. But it doesn't mean that if the application is connecting to the database as an admin, so the problem is with the database. Problem is not with the database. It is again with the application.
But here we are doing the SQL injection or
Correct.
so that is linked with both now. Like it may be because of the system administrator or the database administrator has not configured, given the rights properly.
Right.
So that then only like through this application you are able to exploit that.
Right.
I think if you are able to change your statement that it is only the problem with that application or the database configuration.
Okay, fine. I think we'll take this discussion forward during tea break because others should not be. Okay, so right now, are you with me? Where we've got the column names. Okay, so the only thing now remains is that we need to just put these specific fields in our SQL injection, and we will be through. So what we will do is we've got three field names. So we've got login underscore ID, password, user underscore ID from HPO. Yeah. So if you see, we are getting the username passwords here, the admin 123, demo 123, user 123, etc. So this is one way by which data can be retrieved from the database, even though your authentication module, login module, etc. is extremely safe, using the blind SQL injection equivalent. The concepts of SQL injection itself is similar, but the way by which this is achieved is different. That is what. And the perception of many users, many organizations is that if my public page is, if my login page is authenticated, modules are safe, we are safe. But that is not the case always. So we'll take a break for tea and then we'll come back.
Few months back, one of the biggest companies' site was hacked with this, and unfortunately, that company was storing his customer names and password and clearance.
Right.
They got hacked just few months back.
Right. So yeah.
And unfortunately, that company was secret company.
Oh, is it? Okay. So essentially, it comes to the people aspect of information security. So if the developers, how do you expect one person in the company to control everything? Finally, he has to delegate authority, he has to have developers, he has to have...
That's why the compliance and the regulations are very... But again, enforcing those is again a human way to...
Is again an issue, right? So, yeah. See, my aim here is not to teach you how to break applications. My aim is here to just inform you that this is how applications are broken and then emphasize on how they have to be secured. So that is my aim here in the workshop. It doesn't mean, it says web hacking, but I would call it as web securing as the name of the workshop. So we quickly talk about what are the defenses. Okay. Now if you saw, we gave a input in the parameter as quote or 1 equal to 1 or quote union select. How many of you have friends whose name is union? No, right? How many of you have friends whose name is the symbol percentage? No, right? So, or a quote. So, typically we need to identify the context of a variable from the user's perspective and the application perspective and allow only what is expected. It is the resolution is extremely simple. It is not difficult. The only thing is we assume that the framework takes care of it, the database takes care of it. And second is, which I have seen because I have been a developer myself for a while, that the pressures on developing an application is so high that who cares about security? Hence all these things happen. So the first and foremost is input validation. The second is static query statement, which is including what is called as parameterized queries in your application and running them on the database. Now what is a parameterized query or a static query, and what is the difference between a dynamic and a static query? Okay, I'll tell you. See, dynamic query is when the user input is got from the browser and it is replaced or concatenated in the query in the backend, right? Parameterized queries are features of each of the frameworks, PHP, .NET, Java, etc., where the input is considered different from the query. So what happens is the query is pre-compiled and the input is stored in separate variables in the application. What is sent to the database is not the constructed query, but the compiled query and the input fields or the input got from the user. The database then replaces the placeholders and includes the user input. Hence, if you were to give quote or 1 equal to 1, in the database quote or 1 equal to 1 will be searched because now it is considered as a literal or a constant. That is how parameterized query works. Least privilege, that is what you mentioned, sir. That if the connectivity of the application to the database is least privileged, then many of the commands will not work. And of course, code verification. Okay, input validation can be of two types, whitelist and blacklist. What do you think is preferred? Sorry? Blacklist? How many say blacklist? Grey list. How many say, so the rest say whitelist, right? Why do you say blacklist?
The words are less in blacklist. Typically saying like in SQL injection, the code is the specified, which actually means a little different in a SQL.
Right.
So we can find out the list of these words are less. Typically when you go and create a folder or a file in a Windows and you just say star, it just says XYZ characters are not allowed. That list is way less. Number one. Number two, there are evolving things, so whitelist can grow and it can be to infinite, and you need to track it every minute or every moment. So instead, blacklist would be better approach to go for that.
Okay.
One more reason for that is those list of characters which you have shown. We should not accept it as far as possible. We should not accept it as input from the forms of the web. So that will reduce the risk of
Right.
That's
And-
blacklist.
blacklist.
That is why blacklist. And anyone wants to say why only whitelist and not blacklist?
Whitelist is something like only the known values where you can allow or know this is what exactly I want. Let me say, if you are taking some input, like you want to correct report a yes or no, or you go for a test, just put the values yes or no. Only out of these two, you can get to know that that's a whitelist, yes or no. But when it comes to blacklist, you got to identify a whole bunch of data that you got to blacklist. So that you can find out 1,000 blacklists, but there might be 1,001 blacklisted components that you might miss.
Okay.
Only I know the whitelist.
Right. Yeah, you want to say something?
Actually, adding to his point, you can actually have a parallel thought, say, coming to network. Suppose you have firewall. In the case of firewall, would you like to have a whitelist where you say, okay, this guy is actually allowed to pass, or would you like to have a blacklist saying the entire world except me should be allowed, shouldn't be allowed?
Firelist is altogether different parameter when it comes to security. It's
Okay,
very specific domain.
let us take an example. Okay, let's say the username text box. Would it be easy for us to define, say, don't accept quote, percentage, double quote, double hyphen, union, select, and all those?
You have to define a lot more parameters for a blacklist. For a whitelist, you will be able to, for example, if it's a numeric field, if it's a numeric field, you have to only define saying your field should accept only numbers, reject everything else.
Right. So let us not think based on, say, verbs or words. Let us think based on character sets.
So for that character sets, like
So is it easier to define the acceptable character set, or is it easier to define what is not acceptable?
not acceptable.
It is easier to, for example, I am hosting an application in India where English character set A to Z is what I want to allow. Should I define that as this is allowed, everything is disallowed, or should I say
These are not allowed. Everything else should be allowed.
what do you
Because every character or the special characters is very limited list of characters for any application. Or if you just list out these special characters in SQL, those are not more than 70.
Special characters comes when you consider the character. Let's say ASCII, they are very less. Let's say Unicode.
No. I'm talking about character like a star. You
Star.
put that star in Unicode, multi-page language, multi-byte, or a single byte. Even if you go for CTF-8 or CTF-16,
Okay.
doesn't matter. I'm talking about star.
Let me
Which
take
is
another.
considered star.
Let me take another example. So, in any army base, okay, who are the people who are allowed? People having ID cards, and everyone else is disallowed.
Yeah.
That is example of whitelist. In any restricted area, restriction.
You can take it in ulta. It's an example of blacklist because in an army base there are very less people who would be blacklisted. Everyone else is supposed to be army.
Is it true, sir?
In army base and
Actually, a simple example is if you are going to chaps, if you are, say, is a highly secured area, like Prime Minister House, so you are allowing only 2 chaps to come in. So obviously you will give these 2 names in whitelist. Rest all are discarded. If it is a highly secured area, if it is a least secured area, dependent on the restriction which you are imposing on the area, you can have a blacklist also. Like if it is a public gathering kind of environment, so you are known that there are high criminals who are not supposed to enter in that area. So if the restrictions are less, you are imposing less checks and balances, then you can have but if you are making your application in this case very secure, then obviously it will be whitelist.
Like access control at the reception or the access control at the data center of the organization.
Let me say, sir. No, I forgot the name. Madhav, yeah. If I ask and I come and ask you, give me your bank account number and your bank account details. Will you give me?
depends.
No, currently now I'm asking you, give me your bank account.
No.
You will not. If your wife or your parents, they ask you, let's say wife, I assume you